morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're reading it today, or watching this, rather. Anyways, so today, October 2nd, is 2016 this year, is Fast Against Slaughter Day. And now, what that means is, we don't just have to be vegan. You can just be against animal abuse, and you can participate in this. But mostly vegans and vegetarians will be participating in this, trying to get people more aware of the fact that, well, you want to go with the whole thing, murder is meat. But that's just like kind of just a mainstream thing that came out a while ago. But it's very true. It may sound like a gimmick, or some people may just kind of tag along for just being part of the wave, but it's really true, you know. If you on the Instagram there, if you follow me at HipHopProfit52, you can see I posted a thing from a friend there. She posted something and said, in the time it takes you to read this, 11,000 land animals will be slaughtered for food. And that's just within that time of just saying that. You know, maybe you're faster reader, slow reader. The point is that just in a few seconds there, just for food, that all those animals are gone. Now that's crazy. Anyway, so I have 10 vegan facts. I got this from a website, which I don't know the site, but I'll post it in the video, and I'll post it, put the link there and everything so you can look up. There's 42 facts, but I chose 10 of them, and these are kind of 10 I already kind of knew, or just really stood out to me. So anyways, here we go. First fact. Vegans tend to have lower rates of cancer than meat eaters and vegetarians. For example, vegan women had 34% lower rates of female-specific cancers. That includes breast, cervical, and ovarian cancers. Similar results were found in men for prostate cancer, okay? Now, what I want to clarify is when it comes to cancer and anything else, there's many other factors, right? There is cellular radiation going on. There's all this crazy stuff like nuclear. So this is just due to diet, okay? This is just due to diet. Now, we can't, we don't know all the other factors, you know, because there's some people, there's all these exceptions to these rules and stuff like that, where people die young of cancer, and yet they did the best things possible. But this is the overall facts, all right? 34% lower rate. Okay, that's just truth. Just take that in, all right? So, number 2. Approximately 5% of the U.S. is vegetarian, close to 16 million people, and about half of those are vegan, meaning that 7.5 million Americans abstain from all animal products. Now that's pretty cool, man. I didn't know there was that many people out there like that. I figured it was pretty high due to the fact it is 2016, people are starting to become more aware of these things, but that encourages me, even though in regards to world numbers, it's not necessarily huge, but in USA, that's pretty big for USA. All right, fact 3. Grain that is used to feed livestock for meat could feed 1.3 billion people. Talk about world hunger. You want to save all, people in Africa and all these third world countries and stuff. Well, one thing is we could stop producing all this grain for livestock and everything and just feed it to people instead, like common sense. Many of these people don't eat meat anyways, or the meat they eat is only from hunting because of necessity. So, yeah, there you go on that. 1.3 billion people. All right, so 4. Our alkaline, read that, alkaline. If you know anything about alkaline and acid, okay, so our alkaline saliva is not meant to break down animal flesh. Carnivores have acid saliva, perfectly designed for the task. So if anybody wants to bring up that whole argument about how blah blah blah, we're meat eaters and everything, our alkaline saliva as humans is not meant to break down animal flesh. And this is kind of one that goes along with that. There was one talking about our teeth. Now look at our teeth here. We got literally 4 canines, right? That's all, and the rest are flat. They're designed to eat plants. They're not designed to tear through flesh. They're designed for plants and plant-based diet. Alright, so number 5. Eating plant-based foods which are rich in vitamin E, vitamin B6, folic acid, and other nutrients can reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's by as much as 70%. 70%. Now tell me why more people don't know about that. I think there's some kind of conspiracy, but I mean, that's just what I think. You know, I mean, it's probably true, but let's move on. Alright, fact 6. Since vegans eat no animals, each vegan saves nearly 200 animals. And now I've seen different numbers, but that it all varies, but it's around the similar numbers. 200 animals per year. 200 animals per year that you can save. Now, if you really claim to be an animal lover, you love your pets and everything, you know, you go to the fair or whatever, you pet the cows, or you see the chickens, you're like, oh, that's cute and everything. You can save 200 of those people from, or not, sorry, people, I consider animals people in the same way. But anyways, you can save 200 animals from being slaughtered per year. Just for going vegan. That's not by stopping any factory from being shut down. That's just by stopping eating them. Okay? Now, fact 7. 70% of the livestock produced annually in the U.S. are fed a diet containing roxorson. I don't know how to say that properly, but it's the most common arsenic-based additive used in animal feed. And arsenic has been linked to bladder, lung, skin, kidney, and colon cancer, partial paralysis, and diabetes. I don't need to explain a lot about arsenic to you because we've seen arsenic in the news, and if you study anything about what is going on in this world with fluoridation, and if you know about cigarettes have arsenic in them, if you know about anything about that, you don't need to know too much to know that, or like know too much more to know that arsenic is bad. And I don't have to explain that to anybody. I should not have to explain that to anybody. Now, a lot of people don't care. I realize that, what they put in their bodies, because it's gotten to 2016 to a point where most of us have become so brainwashed or lazy, even myself at times, where we're just like, oh, whatever. And there's that whole, like, we only live once, so just do whatever. But do you really want to live with lung, kidney, cancer, skin, colon, partial paralysis, or diabetes? Do you really want to live like that? Anyways, so this one I found really, really interesting. Because people bring this up a lot when they're arguing about veganism and everything about, oh, we're supposed to eat meat and everything. Listen to this. All carnivores have tails. Now, do you have a tail? Odds are highly in favor that you don't. I mean, there's less than 0.1% or something of people that are born with tails, but even them, I don't think they have razor sharp teeth. So, anyways, all carnivores have tails. Remember that. Alright, fact 9. The expansion of agriculture land accounts for more than 60% of worldwide deforestation. Most of this land is used to graze beef cattle. So, if you're an environmentalist out there and you're still eating meat on the regular, and animal products and so on, then you really need to take a second look at yourself and your life and what you really believe, because do you really believe in the environment and everything if you're contributing that much towards deforestation, which is a huge problem? I mean, our CO2 levels are really high and our oxygen levels are really low, and it's just been getting worse over the years. So if you claim to be environmentalist, or you love the environment, or you just love Mother Nature, one thing you can do is to stop consuming animal products, alright? Fact number 10. The University of Chicago reports that going vegan is 50% more effective than switching to a hybrid car and reducing gas emissions. Now, quickly, I'll just break that down to you why that is. If you've seen Cowspiracy, then you know kind of why it is. You know, you've seen the facts and everything. But basically, cow manure produces a lot of methane gas. And that contributes to CO2 levels all around the world. And in fact, it's something like 80% of it, whereas car gases are only about 13% of it. And the other 7% is like machinery, etc., and stuff like that. So yeah, transportation and using gas is only about 17%, something like that. I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but the numbers are about 60 or 80%. I can't remember the number. But anyway, so it's like most of the carbon emissions that happen in this world are because of beef, mainly, and raising livestock for the purpose of consuming meat. Now, I realize that going vegan is a hard process for many, but really, the biggest thing, it's not actually living a vegan life that is hard. The thing that's hard is society always saying, it's natural to eat meat. We did this for years, blah, blah, blah. It's our beliefs, etc. It's our right to. And, there's so many arguments I can bring up against that make logically more sense than any of that. Because all that is basically like dogma, stigma, basically. It's like a belief. And it doesn't hold ground into anything in reality that is true. This being said, I know that there's some people out there right now that if they stop eating meat, they will become sick because their body has become so reliant on it. And I don't know the science behind it, but there's somebody I was talking to online. They said, I tried a vegan lifestyle and I can't do it. And maybe there's other factors in that. Maybe they didn't, they weren't having enough of certain foods or whatever. Because that's just like a fact of life. If you don't have enough certain nutrients, you're going to be sick and everything. But there's very low amount of people who I would say who are like that. I'd say most people would thrive, like 99% of people, maybe 95%, I don't know what the numbers are, but would thrive on a vegan diet. And it's more than just about you. This planet is not just for humans to trample upon. I mean, we've done a great job at doing a horrible job of taking care of this earth as a society, as humanity. Now, if you want to keep contributing to that, you want to talk about how this world is crappy, it's shitty, it's going to crap, blah, blah, blah. What a world we live in, it's so bad. If you want to keep contributing to that, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And yes, I do mean to guilt trip you. You know why? Because there's billions, literally, of animals that have to die just so you can consume meat and dairy products. Even dairy products and eggs, etc., you're still causing harm. And even honey, that's one that I'm starting to grasp now, that even honey causes harm to bees. And there is ethical ways to get honey, I find, but even that, if you're really for the animals and against animal exploitation, you probably won't consume that. But some of you, if you really want honey, there is even honey alternatives where they do it safely. There's no smoking involved, because I don't know if you know anything about honey extracting, but they have to smoke the bees out, and it kills a lot of the young ones to get the honey, basically. And basically, think about it, for everything, even if you want meat, we need the bees to pollinate things, because if they don't pollinate things are going to die. And actually in the US, I believe that they're now becoming an endangered species, and that's horrible. So, I mean, if you do want to help, even stop having honey till you can find something that's ethical. That's even something that's recently new to me. Not all vegans go by that, but that's even a new one. But anyways, I could go on for hours. I could go on for days about this vegan stuff, man, because it's really inspiring. And right now I'm part of this fast against slaughter 2016. And I just feel like really part of something. Nobody around me here is necessarily vegan. Even in my town, there's probably about 10, 20, 30 vegans or less, I would guesstimate, and like some of them are vegetarian, so not even vegan, right? So, and I live in a small town. There's only about 1,000, probably 2,000 now. But anyways, the point is that I feel connected to something just by being part of this. And when you go vegan, you really will feel it.